So it actually was brought to my attention, and somebody asked a very good question today. They said, well, why do people use like aversive equipment if it doesn't work? And I said, well, the honest answer is it does work. And that's why people do use it. I'm not going to ever tell somebody it doesn't work. The difference that I go into, though, is kind of more into how you believe it should be working. So when we, design tools as humans, and that's ultimately what was happening, is that someone designed tools. These tools are made to choke, pinch, or shock. People sometimes say, hey, the shock collar is a TENS unit. Well, no, TENS unit to me feels great. A TENS unit to a dog's neck is actually as an aversive. It's trying to get them to stop. So even if they're not going, oh my God, it's horrible pain, they're going, ugh, it's annoying, ugh, it's annoying, ugh, it's annoying. So even if it's annoying or frustrating, why are you doing that instead of just putting the work into positively reinforcing or guiding your dog into doing the right behavior, is always going to be my question. I am not the person who's going to look down on somebody for using tools at this particular time. There might be some trainers who berate me for that, but I'm ultimately going to say I would rather show you that other methods work, and they work more efficiently if you do them correctly. They actually do have a very solid base in building confidence and building a dog that you can trust a little bit more readily, and the whole off-leash thing. And again, people are like, well, then off-leash training, they have the electric collar, the shock collar. And my answer is no, it's not off-leash. You carry remote. Maybe there's not an actual physical leash, but it's a invisible leash. So just like invisible fence, you have a boundary, but it's a shock collar, and it's teaching them to stay in the boundary. The collar around a dog's neck, they know you have the remote. They know that there's a potential that they're going to be corrected. And so I'd rather it be, kind of in where we use learning theory and just teach the dog whether the collar's on or off. They just listen. There's a lot of high-end competition people who are like, well, we can't use them in the ring, we can't use them on the field. You're right. I can't use treats or toys in the ring or on the field either. Fading into something more lifelong habit is exactly the goal. And so I just simply choose not to use collars and corrections and those aversives. I don't also believe that there isn't a time and place for no, because I do think there is a time and place for no. And so I say positive training isn't permissive. There are rules, there are guidelines. If that dog is in imminent danger, if they're going to eat a pill that's going to, cause extreme harm, or a chicken wing fell on the floor, you bet your butt I'm still human. I'm gonna be like, no, leave it, and make sure that dog doesn't get it. But that's also the difference, is that usually it's in an emergency situation that I can use verbal control. I don't need to go, oh my gosh, where's my remote, and to stop the dog or have it carried around my neck, or even just be able to say, oh, well, I trained the dog, so he should just ignore it. Yeah, he should, but dogs are opportunists at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, a dog is a dog. So there's no 100% in behavior, human or otherwise. And I'd rather just build that relationship of trust and go ahead and build actual learning so that they have a habit behind them. For me, I use a lot of human examples when I talk to my students, and one of the main things is, do you actually speed? Does the fear of a ticket, have you ever gotten a ticket? You don't have to answer that, obviously, but if you've ever gotten a ticket, does that fear of that ticket stop you from ever speeding again? Or do you risk it? Risk worrying about, maybe I'll get caught speeding, or maybe I'll get a ticket, or maybe I won't get a ticket, I'll get off on a warning. Just because there's an aversive waiting for you that you know about it doesn't stop your behavior. So that's again where, until you get caught, or until you go to jail, or you lose your license, or you have these extreme measures put against you, your behavior doesn't actually truly change. But I bet if officers stopped you for going the speed limit or under and gave you $100, I will almost guarantee nobody would speed anymore, because that possibility of, wow, I could get paid to not speed, that might be far greater. Now, you're always going to have exceptions to the rules, just like in anything. But again, actually look at it as developing good behavior and lifelong habit. I don't need to have my food, treats, toys, and freedoms everywhere I go as always rewards. But when I teach things, I do have them readily available, doing continuous and rapid reinforcement, fading into variable reinforcement, getting into lifelong behavior. And that's ultimately what this is about. So instead of suppressing my dog, which is what an aversive does, it suppresses them. It doesn't truly teach them what they should have been doing. Still gives them 2,000 ways of doing it wrong, or more. It's an infinite amount. You still have to put in the work to teach them what to do right. So for me, I'd rather do less work, not more work. I don't want to focus on correcting them and then have to also reinforce them. I'd just rather redirect them and reinforce them. I'd rather set them up for success and reinforce them. So that's kind of where I'm about. I don't like to suppress. I don't like to use aversives for that manner. If I do have an emergency, I will use a no on occasion. I will guide my dog into doing something different if I don't like the behavior. Hey, come here, let's go to something else. Let's do over here. Or let's go. You'll hear me say that a lot in videos and, when I'm working with students. But ultimately, I'd rather do that work and help them be correct, be successful, and learn what they're supposed to do, and pay them to do that, have them really realize that that's what they're supposed to do. Also, it teaches them to come to me for guidance and say, hey, what did you want me to do? Versus just always do things on their own and go, if she doesn't like something, she's always going to correct me. She'll stop me if she wants me to stop. No, I'd rather you just pay attention to me. I'd rather you just stay with me. If I turn right, you turn right. If I turn left, you turn left. If you see that squirrel and I say, leave it, let's go, you leave it and let's go. And I don't have to worry about leash collars corrections or, having to negate anything. So again, ultimately, I choose going positive reinforcement over suppression. And that's ultimately where I want to just leave this at. Think about it as simply, whether you positively reinforce or you suppress, you're going to have to do the work. Period. So why choose to suppress your dog? As like there's a dog barking in the background here at the campground. Mine are sleeping. They're not even worried about that dog. Good job, guys. Good quiet. So being able to just say, that's what I'm supposed to do. That way I can take them anywhere, anytime, under any distraction. And 9 times out of 10, have exactly what I want to have. But that's where I am at. I don't choose suppression. I don't choose aversives to teach. I want to go ahead and make sure I teach using positive reinforcement. And anybody who tells you positive reinforcement doesn't work is lying. They're not using it correctly. The very definition of positive reinforcement is adding something to get a behavior repeated. So if it's not working, you're not actually using it. That's the difference. So try to choose a professional who also knows how to do those things, because when people go, oh, it doesn't work, it didn't work for my dog, then you aren't actually using it. You didn't have someone teaching you how to use it appropriately. And that's another really big factor in this. So as always, elevate yourself to the next level, live in 4D, and happy training.